Hey, Rudy, good to see you. You know, you and I've talked often about, I think, what you call the underdog's journey.
Yeah, it is, and I think people can relate to this. That's 97% of us.
Yeah, that's the
You
truth.
know, we're always fighting for the next little goal or the next, dream, and then we get stopped. But you have the courage to keep going. This is why I'm excited about the guests that we're bringing on.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, these people, they had a passion and sort of a magical story too. And you'll see what we mean here in a minute. They were named one of Rolling Stone's artists you need to know. They're Nashville-based country duo Haley and Michaels, and they're known for their strong blended vocal harmonies and their relatable lyrics. Well, following their breakout single, Giving It All to You, the pair has generated over 40 million online streams and have shared the stage with the likes of Entertainer of the Year Jason Aldean, Sam Hunt, Chris Young, and Old Dominion. And today, Rudy, they're sharing our stage. So let's bring on Shannon Haley and Ryan Michaels. Haley and Michaels.
Yes.
This is our Hail Mary, even if it don't look pretty. I still got a lot of fight left in me. This is our Hail Mary.
Awesome. That's great. Shannon and Ryan, good to see you guys.
Good to see you too, man.
They're coach. They're awesome people, as you could see.
Now, first question, how did the two of you or the three of you first get to know each other?
Yeah, so we as we were talking about a minute ago, our business and life, right? It's full of unknowns and things where you have to have faith and you have to be persistent, and so many other things. And one of the things that we do to help us in the times that are more challenging is we watch Rudy. I mean, there's a lot of things we do, but on a regular basis, we watch Rudy, whether it's the movie or the documentary that Rudy made with Nick Nanton, who's a friend of ours. And I think, we were in one of those periods of time where we were, felt like we had our backs to the wall. We had written a song called Hail Mary. It was a really meaningful song to us. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I think somewhere in the middle of the night, after watching Rudy for the 500th time, we, sent him a message at some very odd hour, and we were, you should have seen the little dance we did when we actually got a response and had the opportunity not just to talk to Rudy, but we got to go out to Las Vegas and have lunch together and, just get to talk to him and share our story and possibly find ways to work together, which we're really excited about.
Wow. That's great. I didn't know that, Rudy.
Well, it's a serendipity of life. Again, it's one person meeting another person, and you don't know what they're going to lead to. But what's great about these guys, what I love about them, they're genuine. And mostly, when you find people like this, they're going to make it because they're going to hit the hearts of the audience sooner or later once they get out there, which they are out there.
Yeah.
But, we're trying to capture their spirit on a documentary with Nick Nanton. And that's one of the goals, to capture their spirit and their persistence and their faith, how they get through. We always talk about this. The process changes, guys, as you know. There's a process, but it changes. It's a continuous change, and you have to adjust and adapt to it. But the outcome never changes where you want to be. So you're going to do the things, probably some uncomfortable situations that you have to do that you didn't want to do, that you had to do in order to get the eye or the sound or the ear of someone.
What was your journey? What was your backgrounds and that ultimately led you both being in Nashville, I guess?
I grew up just absolutely loving music. I was first introduced to performing and singing in musical theater at 5 years old at my school. And I just fell in love with it. I felt like it was what I was meant to do with my life. I started writing songs really young. And then was in choir, like a very intense touring choir in high school, and I ended up going to UCLA as an opera singer. a twist, a country singer. I was a country singer on the weekends and an opera singer on the weekdays. And it was a really fun time. But I had, even during my years at UCLA, I had been making trips to Nashville because when I was on my own writing songs, it was always country music. It's what I grew up loving. It's what naturally came out of me. And so I started cultivating relationships in Nashville while I was in college, and then moved out pretty much right away afterwards.
Wow. What about you, Ryan?
And so we grew up 3 miles apart in the Bay Area, like Shannon said. And, I grew up in a family-owned music store, and I grew up around musicians. My dad was a musician, also entrepreneurial. So always watching my parents, figure out something that they wanted to do, and then just do it. And so I think from a very early age, I grew up thinking without limitations, which is obviously one of the things about, the reasons I was drawn to Rudy when I was a kid, was to see people think without limitations and see how that can actually happen. I think really helped me to grow up not thinking in those terms. And that doesn't mean that everything happens, but to not grow up inside of that box and have that from my parents, and then other people like Rudy growing up was just it's just been amazing. And so I came to Nashville right out of high school, and I wanted to be an athlete and I wanted to be a musician. I was going to do all of it, but ended up going with music for various reasons. But really, to me, there's a through line. There's a spiritual through line in sports and music and thinking without limitations. And so even though I no longer aspire to play professional sports, even though I'm constantly asking the 49ers to give me a shot, I'm still trying.
He wants the one-day contract.
Well, tell Matt to give you a shot. He's a Notre Dame guy, and
okay,
tell Matt he's the man. So
I'm working on it. But I think I always think in terms of training the same way. Training like you want to play for the Niners or whatever, and we're certainly we have more mountains to climb. There's a lot more that we want to do, but the way we made it onto the football field was with our music. We got to play halftime at Monday Night Football with the 49ers, and for us that was
cool.
That was a cool thing, especially because that was one of the things that I think when we first started talking about it, we had so many people telling us that it was a little bit unrealistic. It was a reach. It was they only have superstar artists do those sorts of things. So just more reinforcement that the Rudy message and the Rudy spirit is it's what we're about. That's
it's so important. If you block that noise out of your life, you don't hear it. Your expectations go to new levels. But here's what's awesome. You mentioned it, Joe, before we got on the show to them. They have a little miracle coming.
Yes.
Because of the chemistry they formed 3 miles apart that they didn't know they were going to form. And all of a sudden they make music, and guess what? Now they made a miracle. And that's coming. When does that do?
September 29th. They're having a little girl. So.
Oh my God. You already know?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Joe, is that exciting?
Rudy and I know about having little girls. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, I know.
You need some advice.
Hey, I might sidebar with you guys,
Brian, let me just put it to you this way. They will have your heart forever. Whatever little girl wants, little girl gets.
Now, Joe, tell the story about the dog.
Oh, my.
Awesome.
Well, it's not much of a story other than the fact that I just was adamant about it. We'd had a dog, had it for a long time. Dog passed away. That's dog period is over. Until my daughter, who just graduated from the University of Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Dad, I think it's time for a dog. So guess who has a dog coming shortly?
You.
It's wonderful. You're just
You're making an analogy. You're making an analogy of how that same thing is going to apply here. I think is what you're saying. And I might call both of you guys in the middle of the night. I don't even know how to change diapers yet, but I got this little
you'll learn real quick.
Trust me, the music business is so hard to break into. And you had to have a hardest moment. What time was there a thought, any thought, maybe we ought to rethink this?
It's definitely, it's exactly true what you said. It's a really hard business. I mean, I think anytime that someone's really going after their dreams, it's going to be a tough road, right? It's not always going to be perfectly, you know, uh, you know, that wonderful downhill ride. But I would say there have been a few different moments where we haven't rethought if we should continue, but we haven't been able, there have been moments where it's been really hard to see how it was going to work out. You know, just rejection is a real thing in this business, especially. And there have been doors that we were really hoping would open for us that didn't. And especially, I think it's been hard. I can remember coming off of one of the biggest highs in our career, which was playing our wedding song on the Today Show with
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. I loved
which,
seeing that.
thank you. Well, it was a dream come true for us because we wrote that song to be our vows and didn't really plan to do anything else with it other than record it so I could walk down the aisle. And then we released it, and Hoda heard it while she was running on the treadmill, and she reached out and invited us to perform it live. And so that was really incredible. But I remember that after that, you kind of get a taste of what that feels like, and you start to really feel the connectivity with the audience. And we just had such an outpour of messages of people that were using the song as a part of their wedding. And that's the whole reason that we do this, is to connect and uplift other people. But it was hard because after that happened, and other things didn't start to follow, that was really tough because, you know, we had some doors that we were hoping at that time that would open with record labels that did not.
Yeah, and you know, the business, and I think sure this happens in professional sports and probably every industry to an extent, where you know, we had you know, our most national success initially with our wedding song. It happened very organically, like Shannon just described. The song went top 25, and we were sitting right there with people like Kenny Chesney on iTunes and all that. But then, you know, from what we heard internally with some of the industry in Nashville was that, oh, well, that's sweet, but they're married and they, you know, they sing, you know, it's a wedding song. They sing love songs to each other, so they're soft. When realities, we have more of a 7-piece rock band, you know, what we do live, but this kind of narrative started. So then we were now going up against an organic success that put us on national TV and had a top 10 hit on Sirius XM. And so then, you know, you can start to get in your head and maybe try and overcompensate. I certainly think I was guilty of that. So I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to show everyone how much I can rock. And then they said, well, you know, you're not really a fit. You know, you're a little more rock than you are country, or it was a little melodramatic. And so, you know, I think the lesson there, I don't know if there was a time, you know, to think about quitting, but certainly, you know, like taking a step back and saying, so, well, the word in Nashville is that I'm not a fit, or that we're this or that. And I think, so in that case, you know, when we felt like we had been passed on by a lot of the labels here, we went to New York and we met with the president of Sony ATV out there, and he signed us on the spot. And that was one of those examples of, you know, there was no preconceived ideas, no narrative. He listened to the music and met us, and it was objective. So that's an instance where I think, you know, thinking without limitations doesn't mean that every door you want to open is going to open. It means that if one of them closes, then, you know, go kick down another door. And I think that's really a big part of this business, having to pivot and just keep following your instincts.
It's a lot of this. It's up and down. You know, I had the honor of working for Dick Clark at one point in my career.
Oh, wow.
And one of the things that he said to me when I asked him, what's the secret to success? You know, seeing the parade of artists that came through that door, through Bandstand and all of the specials and things. And he said, bulldog determination, immediately preceded by a modicum of talent. But he said, most people with talent are too soft for the fight. So if you've got that bulldog determination, that stick-to-itiveness, along with your talent, you'll succeed. And that's what it really takes, whether it's the music business or other facets of entertainment. Really, when you think about it, just about any you know, venture, whether, you know,
Yes.
you're going into corporate life or what have you. It's stick-to-itiveness. It's faith, I think is what it's all about. So is that what keeps you going? Is your faith, is your belief? Because that's the other
Absolutely.
thing too, is it takes the belief in yourself.
Exactly. And I do think it's faith and belief. And, you know, I'm always very grateful because when there have been hard days of rejection, you know, we usually wake up the next morning and shake it off. It's like, it doesn't really, uh, touch and affect in a real way our faith and our belief that this is our path, it's our purpose, it's what we're supposed to do.
Shannon, when you and Ryan went to New York, was that the moment you thought we're going to make it?
You know, it really was, because I think it kind of confirmed for me that in this business, you really have to find your people. And just because some people don't get you, it doesn't mean that there aren't others out there that will. And so it was also just such an incredible opportunity for us to have that type of infrastructure come in, and someone, you know, like Danny Strick actually step out and really believe in us and give us that real shot, the big time shot. And it's when I started to be able to actually have a vision for how this could really work on the level that we want it to.
Mm-hmm.
What's your level you want to go to? That's fascinating. I know you want to go. Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
where are you going?
well, I mean, we want to play stadiums and sell
Yeah,
them out, and you know that's especially after that 49ers stadium
yeah,
experience. We're like, oh man.
Yeah, I think we played was it Levi Stadium,
Yeah,
and then we got to
yeah.
play State Farm Stadium with the
the
you know, the
Cardinals.
Cardinals Falcons game,
Oh,
and I'll tell you what, it's just that's that's always been what's in our heads, and there's
awesome.
just such an opportunity to getting to talk to people afterwards that connect
Yes.
to, again, whether it's our wedding song or more of an anthem like Hail Mary, you know, about the underdog, and that encompasses the Rudy message, and um, you know, that's what drives us, you know, that's what drives us to keep going. And so what people say, those are just whispers, and that's going to happen no matter where you go. And if you let it get you down, um you know, you're you know, you're dead in the tracks before you even get off the ground. So
Right. I got a question though. What's it like uh, working and being together 24/7? I mean,
I'll take that one.
In quarantine too, while you.
Well, you know, I actually it was harder at the beginning because we both had spent a long time developing our own sound and our own solo music. The first time that we ever performed together, my band was playing at the Roxy Theater in Los Angeles, where Shannon actually lived at the time, and she got up and sang a song with us, and you could see everyone in the crowd was just like, oh, there's the end of the Ryan Michaels band experience. And now it is, you know, and so it was really organic. But I think the parts of it early on where we were both trying to do every single thing together, that was harder. And now we've learned that we both have, I mean, we're on the same page musically. We're, you know, nearly always on the same page. But you know, where we've learned to delegate to each other and really appreciate and respect each other's strengths. And that's when things, you know, started working for us. And I think that we would see things that Shannon would put together that I had nothing to do with, and, you know, say, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, or maybe I can, or I would put something together, and things started to happen that really supported the idea that we didn't need to, you know, pay attention to the whispers and the limitations, but just, you know, just keep going. So yeah, you know, I think we're in a great place with it now, or a little harder earlier on, I would say.
I agree.
I'm excited for these two for a couple of reasons. Because, you know, look, they're young, they're ambitious, they're going to make it. They don't listen to the whispers. I love that. That's an important part of your journey, not listening to those. And you block out all the negativity and you keep moving towards your goal. I'm telling you, you are in a perfect, I call it perfect storm right now for country music, because people want to feel hope, they want to feel spirit, and you're in the right position to do that. And your stories and your songwriting will do that. I believe that.
you know, there's somebody listening to us right now who, you know, maybe they have aspirations of being in the music business, or, you know, it's some, you know, job they've always wanted, but there's a risk involved in that sort of thing. What advice can you offer them?
I would say that if it's really something that is burning in your heart and you truly believe is something that you're meant to do, and you just have that fiery passion for it, I would say go for it. And don't let anybody along the way tell you who you are or who you're not, and that anything is
I
impossible.
think for us, also just to remember, it's so fun to say this to you, but and I think I said this when we had a chance to have lunch to you, but when you talk about making it, to me, so much of our spiritual practice is being present, living in the
Right.
moment. That stuff, it's cliche, but really it is. And so getting to do this with you guys, Rudy, getting to meet you after, anytime our backs were to the wall and we didn't have the answers, well, yeah, let's just lean on Rudy for this one. And we spent a couple hours watching your movie or watching your documentary. And so, this is just, it is making it to us in the, in real time
Just to do this.
to do this. And I think back to your question, Joe, to other people looking to step out and follow their dreams. I thought it was fascinating that the email you sent us before this talked about, faith, perseverance, and self-reliance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fascinating because Shannon and I are right in the middle of studying, and we have always been fans of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who penned the essay Self-Reliance. And our favorite Emerson quote is, trust your instinct to the end, though you can render no reason. And that is exactly the advice that we would give to anyone, because I think that if you are following what's right inside, which means you have to have faith and stillness and make sure that you know what that is. But if you know what it is and you believe that, then that's your truth. And if you're following that, you don't need reasons. It doesn't matter what other people say. And I think that just being present, enjoying the moments along the way, sometimes in this industry especially, there can tend to be superficial ideas of what making it is. But if you're following the path and you are on the right path spiritually and metaphysically and every other way, you're going to be happy. And that's the goal. And it is a dream come true to get to work with you, Rudy, and Joe, to meet you. This is really great, guys. This is fantastic. You made our day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
I was so excited to have Shannon Ryan on the show. You know what we found out today?
What?
We have a little miracle coming. Is that awesome? Oh, my God. I was so excited to hear that. And it's a little girl that's coming.
And I think Ryan is going to be reaching out to us as the father of daughters.
God's not going to send the booklet down. So he's going to have to learn. But they have taught and inspired so many, especially to reinforce myself as well, because we still have our dreams, not to quit, persevere, keep believing, and have the faith. And that's what they believe in, they feel it, and it's passionate, and I love it. It was a great interview.
Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled you brought us all together. I found inspiration in their story too. And I hope you guys found inspiration in their story. And we still want to hear your story. You can write to us. In fact, you can write directly to Rudy. The address is on the screen. It's rudy@riseabovewithrudy.com. So share your story, share our podcast, hit subscribe. We could use your support. So, Rudy, I had fun. Till next time.
Oh, wow. I had fun too. And I'm looking forward to more of these type of talks. I know we got some good ones coming on. So
we do.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Goodbye.